Robert Downey Jr., after a 5-year break, is returning to Marvel, but before he did that, he actually turned down Ryan Reynolds.
All right, you guys. So Ryan Reynolds obviously has to be deported back to Canada. Once again, this is a way for the left and the right to come together because no matter where you stand on the topic of mass deportations, illegals, we can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to... Ryan Reynolds, this is his thing. He's a Taylor Swift of the movie industry. When he gets upset with somebody, he puts them into a script.
Robert Downey Jr. turning down a cameo in Deadpool 3 wouldn't normally raise eyebrows. After all, he's one of Hollywood's busiest stars. But this wasn't just any cameo. It was a personal request from Ryan Reynolds, a man who's not used to hearing the word no. And yet Downey didn't hesitate. No negotiations, no scheduling excuses, just a flat-out rejection.
Robert Downey Jr., after a 5-year break, is returning to Marvel, but before he did that, he actually turned down Ryan Reynolds. Making the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, Hugh Jackman told Ryan Reynolds in 2021 he'd return as Wolverine after saying 4 years earlier he'd never come back doing the movie Logan. It was one of the most cameo-filled movies in history, where 45 different actors from both the MCU and the Fox universe returned for Deadpool and Wolverine. But one actor Ryan Reynolds asked to return for Deadpool and Wolverine was Robert Downey Jr., saying he wanted him to share a scene with Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau does actually have a very big scene in the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, but that scene was originally written with Robert Downey Jr. taking the main stage and Jon Favreau only being a small part of it. He even wrote the scene in 2018 just so it would make sense for Robert Downey Jr.'s character to be in there because it does take place before the events of Avengers Infinity War. When Ryan Reynolds approached Robert Downey Jr. with the script, he said he was completely shocked he got an instant no. The reason was Robert Downey Jr. was already in talks to return as Dr. Doom, but he couldn't tell Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds said he didn't know about that until it was revealed, but now is happy for him and said he wants to fight.
That alone would be strange. But in the wake of the Justin Baldoni scandal, it's starting to look very different. Because Robert Downey Jr. might not just be passing on a movie. He might be taking a stand. For years, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have been Hollywood's golden couple. Charming, successful, and seemingly untouchable. But when the It Ends With Us controversy exploded, cracks began to form in that perfect image. What started as a professional dispute between Blake and Baldoni quickly spiraled into a messy war of allegations, counterclaims, and PR maneuvering. It was ugly. Career-ending ugly. Now the industry is watching as the once-beloved duo begins to lose favor among their peers. Because here's the thing, RDJ isn't the first to distance himself from Ryan and Blake. He's just the biggest name to do it so far. When Baldoni came forward with his claims against Blake, few expected the backlash to reach Ryan. But according to insiders, Ryan Reynolds wasn't just involved. He was allegedly pulling the strings. Hollywood is no stranger to power plays, and Ryan has long been known as someone who gets what he wants. But this time, people are questioning just how far he was willing to go. Reports suggest it was Ryan, not Blake, who orchestrated the alleged behind-the-scenes attacks on Baldoni. And that revelation is making some of his former allies rethink their loyalty.
It's all coming out in the wash. So Blake Lively, what she did to Justin Baldoni, guess what? She learned it from Ryan. Ryan Reynolds did the same thing to Marina, her last name is Baccaron, who also was in Deadpool. You remember when she made Justin Baldoni go sit in the basement with his family for the movie premiere? Ryan Reynolds did the same thing to Marina and her family. He did not allow her to be part of any of the movie's premieres for Deadpool.
Candace Owens posted to her story saying she spoke to a source that claims Ryan Reynolds is the problem. She said the tip came from someone who allegedly worked on the set and said lately everyone is bashing Blake Lively, but apparently the true villain of the saga is Ryan. This person is alleging that everything started when Ryan Reynolds decided to stroll onto the movie set one day and review the dailies. This is an industry term for all the footage that they filmed for the day. And he also decided to take a look at the script, and between the two, something allegedly set him off. This person claims that the production assistants then overheard Ryan and Blake having an argument in her trailer. Ryan Reynolds started being on the set on a regular basis as if he were her chaperone, and that is when he started inserting himself into the actual production, including writing lines. And then she says the next part was alleged in their lawsuits that Ryan and Blake, perhaps in response to her husband's anger, began inserting themselves in the effort to change lines and change scenes. And of course, the allegation that Ryan Reynolds was making fun of Justin Baldoni in his movie when he played the character Nice Pool. And we did hear this, I believe, from Justin's lawsuit, but correct me if I'm wrong, but she also says that allegedly Ryan presented an ultimatum to WME, the biggest talent agency in Hollywood, whose client roster include everyone from Taylor Swift to Justin Baldoni. Basically saying that it's us or him. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is what Justin Baldoni also alleged. And I think he said it happened either at the premiere of It Ends With Us or the premiere of Deadpool and Wolverine. Obviously, she says, we know what happens next. He gets dropped by WME. Wayfarer Studios had effectively been instantly blackballed, persona non grata in Hollywood instantly, and truly they had done nothing wrong but cast a woman into one of their movies with an allegedly very jealous husband.
Hollywood, nothing is ever that simple. Insiders believe that when veteran actress Marla Dane threw her subtle shade, she wasn't just making a joke. She was sending a message, a warning even. It hinted at a growing divide between Reed Lawson's polished public persona and the man he really is behind the scenes. And if someone with Marla's influence is speaking out, she's probably not the only one who feels that way. Officially, sources close to Daniel Cross claim he turned down a cameo in Crimson Blade 3 because he's been in secret talks to return to the Vanguard cinematic universe. This time, as the villainous Dr. Vire. It's a massive opportunity, no doubt. But does that really explain why he rejected a personal request from Reed himself? The timing is what raises eyebrows. Cross's rejection came right as the Bound by Fire scandal was heating up, right as whispers about Reed's role in the chaos started to gain traction, and right as other big names began quietly backing away. Coincidence? Maybe. But Hollywood doesn't really do coincidences. According to several insiders, Cross saw through the smoke and mirrors. He sensed that working with Reed at that moment could be a PR disaster. Cross has rebuilt his career from the ground up. He knows how quickly this industry can turn on someone, and if he suspected Reed was heading for a fall, he'd have every reason to step back. Fast. And he's not alone. Other voices in the industry have started hinting that Reed's good guy act might be cracking. Allegations of behind-the-scenes manipulation, power plays, and career sabotage are beginning to circulate, the kind of talk that can destroy reputations overnight. For years, Reed and his wife Lana Vale have been Hollywood's golden couple, charming, funny, and untouchable. But now with the controversy surrounding Bound by Fire, their image is beginning to fracture. Reports of Reed's controlling behavior on set, rewriting lines, overruling directors, reshaping projects to fit his vision, are starting to surface again. What used to look like creative passion now reads as obsession. And here's the truth about Hollywood. Power lasts only as long as people believe in it. The moment the tide shifts, it shifts fast. Reed may have mastered the art of the charming rogue, but if more insiders start speaking out, his empire could crumble. And Crimson Blade 3 may be remembered not for the movie that didn't happen, but for the moment the industry began to move on without him.